DreAllDay.com. Good, everybody. Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. We're doing this video inside right now because it is so hot. The camera's overheating. You can't do it outside, so gotta do it inside anyway. Still gonna be the same level of value even under the air conditioning. Today's topic is stop trying to get without giving in life, and there are 4 specific principles I'm gonna talk about here. I'll tell you those now, then I'll explain why this topic is the topic. We'll talk about recessions, compound interest, karma, and what you should always do instead of what I'm telling you not to do as the subject of this video. Understand that in life, a lot of times people want to get something, but they don't want to give anything up, right? And we all know that to get success in life, you got to put some things in. You got to put some time in, you got to put some effort in. I did a podcast episode. Those of you who listen to my podcast, and if you don't, you should become a listener. It's at DreAllDay.com/podcast. But I did an episode number 609. We're over 1,000 now. But episode 609 was called The 5 Forms of Investment. And to get anything in life, anything that matters, significant achievements, you need to put in all 5. They are time, money, attention, energy, and focus. All 5 you got to put in to be successful in anything in life. And in that episode 609, I explain exactly what that means. The link to my podcast is in the video description. But today I want to talk about why you should always seek to give more than you're seeking to get, and how you can make it work for you, and how you can make it work without giving up everything you have and trying to get something back. So let's get right into it. Point number 1. Every recession, depression, time that a person loses in life, or a time that the whole economy or the country or society is losing, it always is a result of people trying to get things but not wanting to give anything back. If y'all can remember, those of you who are old enough to remember when the housing crisis or the financial crash, whatever you want to call it, that happened around 2007, 8, 9, that time, it was because a lot of people were getting stuff, but they weren't giving it, and it just wasn't adding up. And there were a few people who saw it, but most people wanted to ignore it. And eventually it got so much that so many people were getting, but not enough people were giving, that the numbers just started to get out of balance, and all of a sudden everything collapsed, and it fucked a whole lot of people's situation up. And that was the recession that they call it, the Great Recession and the Great Depression back in the 1920s and 30s. I wasn't alive when it happened, but from what I heard, it was a similar situation. A lot of people wanted to have stuff, but nobody wanted to give anything up. And basically what happens in a recession is nobody's spending money. The prices get higher because nobody's bringing in any money, and nobody wants to spend money because the prices are too high. So it's like a self-perpetuating cycle, and some outside force must act on it. And back then, Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, which many people credit as changing people's mindsets, whether they were the buyer or the seller, to bring things back. And in the 2007-8 financial crisis, back then I believe Obama was running things at that time, he did the government bailout. They bailed out a bunch of companies that were about to be bankrupt and out of business simply by just handing them money. The United States has printed money that didn't really exist quote unquote on paper. It wasn't backed by anything. I'm not going too deep into financial analysis of the thing, but the whole point is nobody wanted to give anything, but everybody wanted to get things. And this is what happens for individuals as well. You try to get for too long without giving anything, eventually a depression or recession will hit your life, and you might not be able to bail yourself out of it. So you better catch yourself before it happens. Point number 2, understand that any person who before we even get into that, that would be point number 3. Point number 2, and we're talking about here, stop trying to get without giving. Understand the universe always pays you back with compound interest. And if you don't understand what compound interest means, it just means the longer that you are giving, or the longer the points between when you give and when you get back, the more you're going to get back as a result. So if I give $10 to the bank, this is not the best example because we know banks don't give that much interest, but I put $10 in the bank, for example, and I leave it there for a year, I might get, rough example, $11 back. If I put $10 in the bank and leave it there for 10 years, I might get $25 back. And again, very, very rough example. Don't challenge me on that one. I know there are other ways to get money back in terms of compound interest, but the point is, the longer the gap between when you give and when you get, the more you're going to get back. So any of you who's felt like you've been giving, investing in your life or in other people, and you haven't really got a lot of return on it, the longer you got to wait to get that return, the greater that return will be. The universe keeps detailed books, detailed records of what investments have been made by whom and to whom, and it knows who it owes back. The universe is always in balance, and it will always pay you back with compound interest from what you have put in. That's just the way that it works. And unlike the banks, it will never fail on you, never crash on you. Your money is always safe. Point number 3, the law of karma. And we all know how this works. The energy you put out is the energy you get back. So if you're a person who is always taking and receiving, or seeking to take and receive, but not giving often enough, eventually the universe will come calling. Like the IRS will come calling and say, yo, this is how much you owe, and you need to pay it back, and you need to pay it back now. And if you don't pay it back, listen, you ain't getting anything else until this is paid back. So what you need to do, if you happen to be a person who's in this situation, you know who you are from talking about you need to do some things and make some changes with the way that you're investing in yourself and the way you're investing in others. If you're getting a lot, but you're not giving anything, eventually the universe will come calling in the form of karma, and it's not going to be political and polite and give you a chance to get your affairs together and do a payment plan. It's going to just take everything it wants from you right there on the spot, and there won't be any conversation. The universe is the most gangster entity that's out there. So you better make sure your books are in the right order. Don't try to take without giving back, because the law of karma will catch you wherever you go. It knows where you are. It will find you. It's not afraid to go in any neighborhood or down any block. It will find you. You cannot hide from it, even in the house. Point number 4. What should you always do then? Since I'm telling you all the things not to do, and I'm telling you all the things that will happen against you if you're trying to get without giving in life, what should you do? You should always, and take this as a rule of life, always seek to give more than you're getting. Any person that you're dealing with, any organization, if you got a YouTube channel, if you got a podcast, you got a website, you sell products, always seek to give more than you get. So if you sell a product, make sure your product is worth 10 times more than whatever people got to pay to get it. If you got a YouTube channel, give your best material, your best content, your best ideas to that audience, even though they're not paying you any money for making these videos. Even if you don't monetize your videos, even if you think the money you get off the monetization ain't even worth it, give as much as you possibly can without always counting how much you're getting back. In life, you've heard the saying that some people are very penny wise and dollar foolish, or that people know the price of everything but the value of nothing. Because people are always talking about the numbers, or how much am I going to make, when am I going to get this, or what if I give all this, when am I going to get anything back? People are always thinking along those lines, but they're not thinking about the value that they're putting out in the world and how the law of karma is going to pay them back with compound interest eventually over time, and probably 10 times bigger than whatever they put out in the first place. But the problem is, if you're giving with tight fists, you don't want to give anything. Somebody has to extract it out of your hand because you don't want to give anything. The universe is going to give you back just as little as you put out there. But the more open you are, the more giving you are, the more willing you are to give of what you have, and your time, money, attention, focus, and energy, the more the universe is going to give back to you just as openly as you are willing to give to it and to its creatures, the other people out there, like people watching your videos, listening to your podcast, reading your books, your blogs, watching your Instagram stories, whatever it happens to be. Give without keeping score. The better you get at that, the more you're going to start receiving so much, it's going to be hard for you to keep score of how much you're getting back. Let me give you the recap of these topics. Today's topic, again, is stop trying to get without giving. Point number 1, every recession, depression, failure in life of people is a failure of trying to receive more than you have been giving. The universe always balances its books. Number 2, the universe gives back in compound interest. So whatever you are giving, you're going to get back 10 times what you gave, maybe even more. And if you're taking, you're going to have to give back 10 times to balance it out what you have been taking. Because again, compound interest works both ways, people, whether you're paying or you're the one being paid. Point number 3, the law of karma. Every energy you put out is the energy that you get back. So if you've been taking, eventually you're going to have to give. Whether you want to give or you don't want to give, it got to be taken from you. You will give. You will pay back everything that you owe to the universe, because it always keeps track of everything and it does not lose its books. It doesn't lose track of a single number. And point number 4, what should you always do? Always seek to give more than you are receiving in every transaction, every situation, every relationship. Don't always look at everything you do like, damn, when am I going to get paid on this? What's my ROI on this? I can't give all this information out. Well, I can't give all this away for free. When is somebody going to pay me back? Don't look at everything as you know the cost of every single thing that you're doing, but you understand the value of nothing. This is a value conversation. It's not a cost conversation. Now, is there a time for a cost conversation? Of course there is, because we all got to eat. But the value conversation is understanding that the universe does not mess up. The universe doesn't go bankrupt. The universe never goes out of business, and the universe is never hard to find. And you ain't hard to find, because it always knows where you're at. So give as much as you possibly can without worrying about when or how much you're going to get back, because it will balance out and you will get everything that you've put out times 10. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. My book, Work on Your Game, using the pro athlete mindset to dominate in business, sports, and life, is available now where all books are sold, physical, digital, and of course the audiobook, 100% done by me. you have learned from these philosophies, the mental game, business, sports, life, anything you do, this is the book for you. Go get it now and work on your game. Dre all day.